They say he ain't claiming the hood still.
But he Trap City.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
from.
That's
How the fuck
all
you gonna
weird,
do that
bro.
and you over Saturday night bloodhound? Like you can't.
But we already know Trap City and Drill City was the same shit.
Yeah.
And water. Like that's our family.
Service announcement. On my dead grandmother's head, if I'm lying, I'm down. God could come pull me out this car right now. A never took a dollar from.
Stood over, man, 17 times to the chest. The autopsy came out. 17 times. You see how little he was, Fly? To take 17 bullets? 19 bullets?
I understand everybody's sad as but hey, somebody gotta be sad at the end of the day. We need to get this together.
Looks like the streets just got their revenge. Word is flying that Trap City Rob, the same dude tied to Lil Jeff's mysterious death, just got taken out in jail. And it wasn't pretty. Sources say he got pressed hard behind them bars, tortured until he cracked and confessed. Right after that, boom, he was gone. This wasn't some random prison beef. This was calculated. The streets been whispering for a while now, but now it's getting loud. Ever since Lil Jeff got hit in broad daylight, folks knew it wasn't gonna be left unanswered. His pops wasn't playing either. He hit Facebook right after the tragedy with a message that shook everybody. This don't end with no funeral. That man was grieving with fire in his chest, and he wasn't just sad, he was ready for the streets to answer back. And now that Trap City Rob is out of the picture, some say it's all connected. Is it justice? Is it retaliation? Nobody's talking on record, but online, it's chaos. Posts, threads, and messages all saying the same thing. The streets remember, and sometimes they hit back harder than the law ever could. This wasn't just some broken dad venting on Facebook. This was a declaration. Pops was sending a message loud and clear. The Bloodhound Circle wasn't gonna let Jeff's name fade without real payback. But he wasn't the only one riding on that energy. Q50, Lil Jeff's day one, his right hand in the Lou Hound crew, had been moving real different ever since Jeff got dropped. The whispers in the street said Q wasn't grieving. He was plotting. Folks say he had that look in his eyes, the kind that don't cry, it just calculates. He was ready to spin that block and bring that pain right back to Trap City's doorstep. This wasn't just revenge talk. This was culture. In Bloodhound territory, it's loyalty, retaliation, and legacy in that order. And Q50, people close to him said he wasn't scared of death. He welcomed it if it meant honoring Jeff's name. Losing Jeff didn't break Q. It forged him into something colder, sharper, focused. All signs pointed to a war that had been simmering for months. Cryptic captions, late-night drive-bys, quiet threats in DMs. And then Lil Jeff got hit. That was the spark. So when word spread that Trap City Rob just got taken out inside that jail, folks didn't even flinch. It felt inevitable. This wasn't random. It was the next chapter in a long, bloody story. And the wildest twist, Rob had been bragging, calling himself the Defensive Player of the Year after the shooting. But behind bars, ain't no defense. To some fans, Rob was just defending his block, standing 10 toes down against a real threat. But respect on the outside don't mean a thing when you're behind that wall. Jail got its own rules, its own code. And now the same folks who once gassed Rob up, they're whispering about his downfall. Right after the shooting, cops swooped in and booked him. Everybody thought it was a wrap. That murder charge looked locked in. But once the footage came out and witnesses started talking, prosecutors flipped it, said it was either self-defense or mutual combat. Legally, it didn't stick as murder. But that's the thing. Legal justice don't run on the same clock as street justice. The courtroom might have called it even, but the Bloodhounds, they still saw red. In their eyes, the scales were tipped and someone had to pay. And even without the murder charge, Rob still had heat on him. As a convicted felon caught with a strap, he got tagged as an armed habitual criminal. That's serious weight in the system. No murder conviction, didn't matter. They still threw him in a cage, and that's when things got real dangerous. Behind those walls, it ain't just lockdowns and schedules, it's politics, it's alliances, and unspoken war zones. And Rob, he wasn't just some random inmate, he was tied to the death of someone the Bloodhounds held close. In jail, names don't always protect you. Sometimes they paint a bullseye on your back. To really grasp how it all spiraled, you gotta rewind the clock. Back to that hot summer day when shots rang out and Lil Jeff's legacy was written in blood. June 8th, 2024. It started like any regular day in the trenches. But by sundown, Lil Jeff, one of the most talked about names in the Bloodhound crew, was laid out cold on the pavement. His dreams of rap fame and street dominance snatched in a storm of bullets. Word is, Jeff wasn't just chilling that day. He was allegedly out on a mission, a drill. Streets say he was hunting down an op deep in Trap City territory. Video from that day reportedly shows Jeff armed, amped, and storming up to a house where his target was hiding out. But this wasn't some scared dude hiding behind a door. Nah, this was Trap City turf, and they weren't about to let a known threat step onto their porch without clapping back. When Jeff tried to force his way in, he had no idea the other side was already strapped up and waiting to answer with fire. The result? Pure chaos. Lil Jeff was gunned down, reportedly hit between 17 to 19 times. It wasn't a drive-by. It wasn't a warning shot. This was war. The type of shootout that sends a message, loud and clear. For a young dude who built his name off being the hunter, the one always catching his rivals slipping, that moment flipped everything. The aggressor got caught, and just like that, the street legend's final chapter was written on the same turf that once made him famous. When police pulled up, they found around 45 shell casings scattered across the scene. That tells you everything. This wasn't quick. This was calculated. A deadly standoff where both sides came ready for smoke, but only one walked away. When the sirens faded and the crowd cleared, Lil Jeff was gone. One of the drill scene's most controversial figures had been taken out in the same game he once dominated. But here's the truth about the streets. Death don't close the book. It turns the page. And now, everyone's asking, when will revenge hit? Who's next in the crosshairs? And how deep is this blood feud gonna go? And if the whispers are true, that revenge just landed inside a jail cell. So how did it spiral this far? Lil Jeff's death wasn't just another name on a headline. It lit a fuse that turned chain snatching into body dropping, sparking one of the deadliest street feuds the drill scene's ever seen. Every legendary beef starts over something small. To outsiders, it looks petty. But in the streets, respect is currency. And even the tiniest disrespect can snowball into a war that racks up a body count. This war between the Bloodhounds and Trap City, it didn't start with territory or some long-standing family grudge. It kicked off with jewelry. That's right, a chain. But in the drill world, snatching a chain ain't just robbery. It's like putting a hit on someone's pride. You might as well scream, "You soft," in front of the whole city. It all started back in early 2023 when Lil Jeff, repping hard for the Bloodhound Drill City clique, made a move that changed everything. He didn't just take Carter Viavel's chain, he humiliated it. Took that piece like it was nothing and let the streets know Trap City wasn't built like that. That kind of flex. It wasn't just about the chain, it was a message. You ain't a threat. And Trap City couldn't let that ride. Their clapback came quick. March 16th, 2023. That's when Lil Cap from Trap City caught Z Money, one of Drill City's most respected soldiers, and took him out for good. That wasn't just revenge, that was a power move. A body for a chain. But Z Money wasn't just some affiliate. He was family to Lil Jeff. And after that hit, Jeff wasn't the same. The switch flipped. He went from just another street dude to someone with tunnel vision for revenge. Cold, relentless, and locked in. That moment turned a flashy robbery into an all-out blood feud. And over the next year, both sides started racking up damage like it was a scoreboard. All sparked by one snatched chain and a whole lot of pride. Z Money's death hit Lil Jeff like a freight train, packed with grief, rage, and cold determination. This wasn't about a chain anymore. This was personal. This was blood. Lil Jeff made it crystal clear. The Bloodhounds weren't gonna let Trap City drop one of theirs and just walk away untouched. The streets were about to witness a full transformation. Jeff leveled up from chain-snatching Flash to a stone-cold operator, someone ready to collect bodies like trophies. Fast forward to June 25th, 2023, and the war took another deadly leap. That day, Lil Jeff and his right-hand Q50 caught Laylo from Trap City slipping. No talk, no hesitation. They sent him straight out of here. But this wasn't just revenge. This was a warning shot to the whole Trap City set. We're coming and we're matching all that smoke. Al's death stamped it in blood. Jeff wasn't just reacting. He was on offense now. Anyone repping Trap City? Target, no exceptions. That whole summer turned into a wild season of payback and humiliation. And Jeff? He cranked the disrespect way up. He caught Big Motion, a known Trap City name, and didn't just beat him, he broke him, made him say loyal to Lil Jeff on camera before knocking him out cold for the internet, for everybody to see. This wasn't just about spraying bullets anymore. This was psychological warfare. Jeff was showing that Trap City members could be punked, exposed, and dropped whenever he felt like it. He wasn't just aiming for their lives, he was crushing their image. And that's what made him dangerous, because Lil Jeff wasn't out here for likes or clout. He wanted names on that list, and he was ready to do whatever it took to make that list grow. August 31st, 2023, another bloodstained date in the war diary. That's when Lil Jeff and Q50 caught Glenn from Trap City and emptied 15 rounds into him. That ain't just execution, that's a statement. 15 shots says, you're nothing to us, and we got enough ammo to waste just to make sure the message hits. That kind of savage hit, Trap City couldn't let it slide. So in the fall of 2023, they struck back hard. Q50, Jeff's closest ally, his partner through every move, got caught lacking. And Trap City let off 10 shots or more. Somehow, he survived. But survival didn't erase the message. We're still in this. Trap City wasn't folding. They weren't scared. They were matching pressure with pressure. It was now a war of attrition. Who could take more hits and keep swinging? Who could bury more enemies without blinking? Bloodhounds clapped back again, this time targeting T3 from Trap City. Another body, another message. This beef had mutated. It wasn't about chains or clout anymore. It was survival, legacy, and revenge locked in a never-ending cycle. Every shot fired meant something. Every body dropped fueled the next. What started over a piece of jewelry had now become a full-blown war zone, where names, neighborhoods, and loyalty determined who lived and who got hunted. No corner was safe, no neutral ground. This wasn't about drugs or blocks, this was personal. Deep-rooted hate born from watching brothers and cousins get laid out in the streets, and neither side wanted peace. With every death, the rage grew. It wasn't even about strategy anymore. It was about one-upping the brutality. Bloodhounds and Trap City weren't just at war. They were trying to outdo each other in the most vicious way possible. To make it worse, the internet was loving it. Diss tracks flew, posts mocking the dead, live streams and stories filled with taunts. It wasn't just gang beef, it was content. Fans picked sides like it was a rap battle. While real people were dying, this wasn't just some back-and-forth street fight. This was a deadly spectacle, a war fed by pride, pain, and posts. And the scariest part, nobody looked ready to stop. The wilder the content got, the more clicks it pulled in. Disrespect turned into views, and those views turned into status. It became a vicious loop. The more outrageous the behavior, the more the streets and internet rewarded it. And no one played that game harder than Lil Jeff. He figured out the code, turned real-life violence into viral content, and you don't just gain clout, you build a brand. In the drill scene, reputation is everything. And for Jeff, every alleged body he dropped became another notch on his name. He didn't hide it either. His social media turned into a scoreboard, posting updates, throwing hints, and openly bragging about who got hit next. It wasn't just crime, it was marketing. He was turning destruction into momentum, both in the streets and in the music game. But all that comes with a cost. That constant stream of violence and disrespect started messing with heads. Both Bloodhounds and Trap City members were moving like ghosts, always watching their backs, always expecting an ambush. Nobody could relax. A trip to the store, a ride to a cousin's crib, any moment could turn into a war zone. The pressure was unreal, the paranoia, non-stop. But these weren't average dudes. These were survivors, raised in the chaos, trained by pain. They didn't break, they adapted, turned fear into fuel, trauma into aggression. And as the bodies stacked higher, one thing became painfully clear. This war had no end in sight. It wasn't going to cool off with a truce. One side would have to be completely erased, or the system would have to crack down with full force just to stop the bleeding. Until then, it was open season. And every post, every track, every trigger pull kept the fire blazing hotter. In Chicago's drill scene, the cops ain't seen as peacekeepers. They're viewed as just another op. Cooperation with law enforcement, that's the ultimate betrayal. That's crossing a line that nobody comes back from. So when Lil Jeff went on his rampage, the streets weren't running to 12, they were bracing for what came next. You hear serial killer, and think of those movie-style villains. Cold, calculated, stalking their victims, leaving creepy notes for detectives. But in the trenches of Chicago, that label hits different. Ain't no costumes, no twisted puzzles. It's beef, bullets, and bodies. over and over again. Lil Jeff showed you don't need a PhD in psychopathy to become a killing machine. All it takes is hate, loss, and a heart that don't beat for nothing anymore. His shift from everyday street dude to straight up predator started the day Z Money got taken out. From that point forward, it was go mode. With every loss, Jeff got more focused, more strategic, more deadly. What separated Jeff from other gang figures wasn't just the violence, it was the consistency and the way he broadcasted his actions. He didn't just slide and disappear, he made it a part of his image, his brand. Documenting alleged hits, dropping captions, throwing names in lyrics, it was like he wanted the whole world to know. This wasn't about turf or money anymore. Jeff was building a legacy, the kind that made people whisper his name with fear. Law enforcement and street sources both pinned him to at least 7 confirmed killings. But Jeff, he claimed 11. And the craziest part, he didn't even try to hide it. His social media was filled with cryptic posts and coded bars that practically screamed, "I did it." That level of arrogance, that disregard for consequences, that's what made him dangerous. And also, what started his downfall. One of his highest profile victims was Al, real name Jal Goys, who got dropped on June 25th, 2023. That hit wasn't just another stat, it was a flex. Another body in a war that was spinning too fast to stop. But Jeff didn't just leave bodies behind, he branded them. Every name he took became a punchline, a lyric, or a taunt posted online for everyone to see. Al's death wasn't just a hit, it was a trophy. Jeff made sure Al's name stayed in circulation, not with respect, but with mockery. That became Jeff's twisted trademark: kill, then clown the dead. No peace for his enemies, not in life and not in death. Then came Glenn from Trap City. He didn't just get shot, he got hit 15 times. That kind of overkill wasn't about efficiency, it was about pain, about making sure his last moments were nothing but agony. That kind of disrespect, it screamed loud, "I don't value your life enough to stop at one shot." At this point, it was clear. Jeff wasn't just eliminating threats, he was enjoying it, taking pride in it. He wasn't hunting for survival, he was doing it for the thrill, for the views, for the name. But nothing hit harder than what allegedly went down on January 26th, 2024. Shots rang out at Innovations High School, a place that was supposed to be safe. 2 young men lost their lives, Robert Boston, known as Lil Rob, and Montario Williams, aka Monty. And this time, it wasn't just another street beef, it was a tragedy that crossed every line. And Jeff, he didn't run or hide, he bragged, he posted about it, mocked it, called those 2 hits his graduation caps. A chilling, twisted joke claiming his last 2 hats were students. That wasn't clever. That was cold-blooded. It showed how far gone he really was, how murder had become a game where victims were reduced to stats. Every post, every bar made it clear. Jeff didn't just want revenge, he wanted legacy. And he was willing to build it on broken families, grieving mothers, and young lives lost before they even had a chance. The spree didn't stop there. In October 2023, DMO, a young woman from Hathaway, Jarrow City, was killed, allegedly alongside Lil Deuce from Foster Park, in what many believe was a brutal double hit. With each name added, it wasn't just violence anymore, it was strategy mixed with showmanship, a performance where the price of fame was written in blood. The moment Jeff crossed the line and took a woman's life, it became crystal clear. There were no boundaries, no street code, no ethics, no target off limits. To him, if you were even remotely connected to his enemies, you were on the list. Didn't matter your age, gender, or how deep you were in the streets. That became the terrifying reality. Lil P.O. from Trap City was just another name added to Jeff's growing list of victims. And just like the rest, Jeff didn't stay silent. He hit social media with cold disses, throwing cryptic jabs that hinted at his role in the hit, all while fans watched and reposted like it was entertainment. His pattern never changed. Lock in on a name, wait for the moment, strike hard and leave no room for survival. Then, flip the murder into content. Stories, bars, captions, lives. Death became a piece of his marketing plan. But what really shook people was how calculated he got. Jeff didn't just pull triggers, he studied, he stalked, he learned his targets' routines, waited outside their homes, and chose his moments for maximum fear. He didn't just want them gone, he wanted them terrified before it happened. That's not just violence, that's the mind of a true predator. He wasn't fueled by just rage anymore. He was obsessed with the hunt, the thrill, the psychological chokehold he could put on his enemies before the bullets even flew. And while the bodies dropped, his Instagram lit up like a scoreboard. Updates, brags, more subliminals. He turned murder into a media machine, a form of self-promotion that blurred the line between real-life carnage and viral content. It wasn't just war anymore, it was a show, and Jeff was playing lead. At this point, it wasn't just crime, it was branding. Jeff had turned death and destruction into content. Every body, every beef, every post added fuel to the persona he was building in the drill scene. The violence wasn't a side story, it was the main feature. His music, it played like a mixtape of confessions. Tracks like Ah weren't just bars, they were blueprints. Lyrics dripping with detail, bragging about hits like they were chart toppers. Some of those songs were so specific, it was like handing law enforcement a full case file set to a beat. The self-incrimination? Wild. But Jeff didn't care. In his world, attention was power, and the more reckless he got, the more clicks, plays, and reposts came rolling in. But when you really dig into the behavior, what starts to emerge isn't just a gang member chasing clout, it's a psychological profile of someone who had let go of every last shred of empathy. No restraint, no filter, no line he wouldn't cross. Kids, women, whoever. If they were even slightly tied to his enemies, they became targets. And that's where Jeff went further than most. Even in the streets, certain lines usually stay untouched, but Jeff bulldozed right through them. This wasn't just turf warfare anymore. It looked like a young man addicted to violence itself. The rush, the control, the ability to end lives and keep moving like nothing happened, that kind of power, it consumed him. And by then, not even the music could cover up what he'd truly become. What's wild is how long Jeff was able to move untouched, posting, rapping, and bragging about the bodies he allegedly dropped in plain sight. The fact that he operated so openly without serious consequence says a lot about the complicated and strained relationship between Chicago law enforcement and the drill scene. Cops had the lyrics, they had the posts, but whether it was lack of resources, fear of backlash, or just not knowing how to handle this new brand of self-documented crime, they didn't act. And that silence, it gave Jeff the green light to go even harder. He felt untouchable, and that's when people get sloppy. But one thing about the streets, they always catch up. And on June 8, 2024, that catch-up came quick and brutal. Jeff was in the middle of yet another alleged hit when it all flipped. The predator became prey. The hunter got hunted. After years of taking lives, someone finally stepped up and returned the energy he'd been throwing at the world. And just like that, it was over. Jeff's legacy, it's not plaques or awards, it's pain. Shattered families, sleepless nights, and a community haunted by his actions. The South Side didn't just lose lives, it lost peace. For years. What makes his story so heavy is how it started with potential and ended with chaos. A young man swallowed by violence, who turned pain into pride and fame into fear. Lil Jeff's rise and fall is more than a headline. It's a brutal reminder of what happens when the cycle of revenge goes unchecked, and when the lines between art, ego, and real-life murder disappear completely. Lil Jeff's story wasn't just about gang ties or music clout. It was about how far someone can spiral when the streets become the only code they live by. From chain snatcher to self-declared killer, his path carved scars across Chicago's South Side and left a digital trail soaked in trauma, blood, and broken lives. And even now, with Jeff gone, the aftermath still lingers. Families left grieving, a generation of young fans exposed to murder glorified like music, and a city struggling to balance culture, survival, and chaos. His death didn't end the war, it just flipped the page. Because out here, violence don't retire, it reincarnates. That's why we break it all down here. No filters, no fluff, just raw truth from the front lines of hip-hop, street culture, and the stories mainstream media won't touch. So if you want more real talk, more hidden stories, and deeper dives into the names, beefs, and moves shaping the culture, hit that like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to BarzBuzz. Because out here, every post, every track, every headline comes with a story, and we're bringing you all of it.